our speaker for today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you sharing your afternoon with us. Today we're going to have a discussion to explain the start of Day of the Dead, its mythology and legend, and also we'll have a little entertainment in between all of it. And also we will be doing a minor discussion to what you can expect to see for this great holiday that is now taken off because of movies like Book of Life and Coco. So, we would like to start by saying that we are Artistas Latinx en Acción Siempre. We have our home base in Saginaw, Michigan, and we are recently trying to open up a satellite here in Sterling Heights, Michigan. Our main goal is to provide a safe space and a proper place for artists to come and feel comfortable to perform and also to participate in any events that we have. All are welcomed and all are invited to join us. So it doesn't matter who or what you are, we ask that you join us and please have fun. And maybe you'll meet some people that you never knew that were singers, dancers, or poets or storytellers. We do focus on the Latino and Hispanic experience, but the thing is that that is something to share with everyone. So that way people can understand what are these holidays about, or why are certain people in our Hispanic, Latinx Hall of Fame are. Why are these people important to us, or what have they contributed to our community or to our state of Michigan, or even to the entire United States of America. Without any further, I'd like to go ahead and say that I am the Artistic and Creative Director. My name is Gil Guevara Jr., and I am a alumnus from Macomb Community College, and also I have participated in the literary community that is in the Macomb County area, namely with Macomb Community College's own group, WordCraft Wednesdays, which they're a very good group of people, of students and teachers, professors, and alumnus that is part of that. And we put out an annual magazine called Artifacts. Someday, what we hope to do with AILAS is to do the same thing, is to put something out to where it'll contribute to, I would say, the Hispanic Latinx view of things and of art and of literature, and also to share that with the community, mainly starting with the libraries, if anything, which we have had several books that we've published by student poetry in the Utica Community Schools on the library shelves. Mostly these are sixth graders, and we decided to do that as a footprint to leave at the last school they leave before they enter into middle school and high school. But also it is to remember something for them to look back at, because a school picture will only stay up so long. All right, I will move on now with our presentation, and that is about Day of the Dead. Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. What exactly is it? We could say there's about several things about it, but the thing is that I prefer to share with what, as I myself as a performing artist, in a poem that was written by me, Tres colores pinta Dia de los Muertos.
Amber, azure, vermilion. Amber sunrise on a November morning, we begin our 3 days to remember our loved ones, our ancestors, those that are gone but never forgotten. No, olvídanos, we don't forget them. Regardless of the days or the years that have passed since you've been gone, as the day continues under an azure sky, the air surrounding us carries on its four winds, smells and sounds, visions of colors, costumes, masks, decorations, and skeletons, angels and devils walking about, which we feel this is a dream. Lights of azure, blue, purple, and green dance towards a stage as a band begins to play, and everyone begins to dance. Parents, older brothers and sisters with their sweethearts, descendants about your age, 13 and under. They don't stand against the wall. They're not sitting in the corner doing nothing tonight. Eventually, los muertos of our ancestors, your grandparents, come forth and they dance with you, teaching the movements to do the waltz, the cumbia, los norteños, the polkas, and el lights, they shift and change. Red, vermilion, crimson, orange, and sanguine, and sometimes blue and yellow shine too. And the DJs, possibly my cousin DJ Dr. Love on the tunes, playing today's music and yesterday's hits, which Los Muertos and their descendants began to approach the dance floor like they are dance warriors. The youth try to teach their grandparents and their other ancestors how to do some of them cool Fortnite dance moves. Afterwards, Los Muertos believing that they can do it, the ancestors claim that they can do the floss, the ninja, the hype, electro swing, the fresh, and the ancestors proclaiming that the Muertos have got the smooth moves. Somos muy chévere. We're very cool. And as the night continues, the dancing, laughing, eating, taking pictures, and sharing stories come to an end on that third day. The day that the sky turns purple gray, and then the sun shines its amber rays to start a new day. The muertos have to say their goodbyes, give hugs and kisses to last us until next time, until we see them again next year, the next day of the dead, and we are sad at the end, a little sad, because they have to go, but we remember them. Nos recuerdamos, we remember them, los muertos, our ancestors, our loved ones. They are gone now, but they are never forgotten. No olvidamos. We don't forget them. A beso y abrazo, familia. A hug and a kiss, family. Sweet dreams, descendants. Good night, ancestors. Te quiero para siempre. I love you always. Tres colores painting Dia de los Muertos. Vermilion, azure, amber.
Gracias. Thank you very much. Okay, and as you can see, that's just a minor.
Tamales, tamales, my favorite
Excuse me a
food.
second.
Just why do you have to be so damn good? Some people prefer tripas, cabeza, or menudo.
Hey,
But
sorry about
Mr.
that, folks.
Tamale, nobody understands me like you do. Some prefer you solita, y salsa y ya. Me, it's ketchup. It makes me want a salsa.
Sorry about that.
Coming back, giving props to Beto y mi raza. It's because of you that I'm blessed with my girlish panza. I'll see you soon, my wonderful
All right,
friend.
let's pull him back. There we go. Sorry about that. Little technical difficulty there. Happens. All right, well, we'll continue. So, what we want to talk about is Day of the Dead and the myth and the legend behind it. So, what started it was that it was began by three gods of the Aztec pantheon, which you can see are pictured right here. From the left to my left to the right, starting with Quetzalcoatl, who is the Lord of the Four Winds and also the patron deity of the Aztecs. In the center is Mictlantecuhtli, who is the Lord of the Underworld. And then we have Xochitl, who is the twin brother of Quetzalcoatl, and also he is the beast Lord God and also the keeper of lightning and thunder. As you can see, there are many interpretations that I've drawn about Quetzalcoatl, of a man with a serpent's head, or a feathered serpent, as you can see in the right corner, that is drawn by one of our art students from the Arts Academy in the Woods, Lou. And also in the middle, we see him as a bearded man. He was known as a bearded man, which made the Aztecs believe that Hernan Cortez was the second coming of Quetzalcoatl. And then to the next one we have is Xochitl, who is the dog god of the beasts. He is the guide of dead. Some say that he is known to be possibly another reincarnation of the Egyptian pantheon of Anubis himself, who was also a guide and guardian of the dead. He's also known to be the keeper of fire and lightning. These two gods decided to travel into the underworld to meet with Miktil himself, the lord of the underworld, who kept all of the dead in his kingdom. The reason they went there is because on account of the Aztecs missed their relatives that have died so soon, and they were having dreams of seeing them again. They wished to see them again. So they pleaded and they talked with the Lord of the underworld to go ahead and get that done, to bring them back. So between these three gods of Quetzalcoatl, Mictlantecuhtli, and Xochitl, is that they pretty much, Mictlantecuhtli had put some tests and some tribulations to Quetzalcoatl to release those people to come above ground and to live in the world of the living from the world of the underworld. Xochitl helped him out a bit and eventually did do that. They were allowed to take the Aztecs above ground to be with their living relatives on the premise that they would promise to put forth on a temple or an altar for Mictlantecuhtli to take as a sacrifice, a tribute, and say thank you. Unfortunately, during the time of celebrating and the families getting together again, the living and the dead, they pretty much forgot, and that had upset the Lord of Underworld. So Mictlantecuhtli decided to go ahead and go forth and grab his people and said he wanted them back. Quetzalcoatl decided to go ahead and put his wits to test, and him and Xochitl came up with an idea. So they said, give us 24 hours to bring those people forward and you can take them back. And that's what happened is they waited, they pretty much planned and put forth a plan and ideas for the day to get that done to where they could probably trick the Lord of the Underworld. When he returned for his people again, that's when he found that there was 20 people standing there, all looking like descendants of the underworld. They all dressed the same, they all looked the same, and he couldn't tell if they were living or dead through their smell because they were holding burning sage or copal to cover up their scent, so they all smelled the same. Quetzalcoatl put before him that if he grabbed the right 10 that were from his world, that they would all go and he would never ask for them to come back. The dead would stay with the dead. They would never come back to visit the living again. However, if he was to guess incorrectly, for every wrong guess he did, he would let those people stay for those days, and then they would always return annually during the autumn solstice to go ahead and visit with their family members for those days that he got wrong, for that many days. In the picking and the choosing, Mictlantecuhtli had grabbed 3 living Aztec members of that community. So it was every 3 days that is when the dead could return to be amongst the living, which happened in the autumn solstice, which surprisingly, when the Spaniards came over and other European nations came to the Mexican territories to start to build their colonies, they had saw that it kind of fell into their traditional Christianity beliefs of All Hallows Eve, All Souls Day, and All Saints Day. All Saints Day, All Souls Day. It fell into that, and they decided to go ahead and let the native Mexican indigenous people to go ahead and keep that, as long as it didn't truly interfere or cause any trouble that would cause them to get them, I would say, normalized or colonized in a sense to where they would become part of the people and leave behind their pagan and indigenous ways or savage ways, as they would think. So it is pretty much that is what come from the myth and the legend of the Day of the Dead, is that it came on that time of autumn solstice on those 3 holy holidays, but it was blended into there. The one thing I have to make clear with the Day of the Dead is that it is not the Mexican Halloween. It is not the day when the dead come back to the living and start eating brains or anything like that. It is just basically a celebration of life of a person that we have lost, whether it is our family members or if it is someone that we love and we truly have missed. But we set up with different things to keep those people alive in our memories and to show that we love them. Here are some of the things you will probably see. What you will start with is ofrendas, which we will have that ofrenda building workshop tomorrow at 4 p.m. And this is pretty much what it is. Ofrendas can be a table, one single layer, and then you would set it up with not only pictures as you see with the skeleton figures and the sugar skull-like creatures, but you would also maybe put up statuettes, as you could see on the middle ofrenda, that would represent family members that have been gone. And it even can include pets. As you can see, there is a cat there as well.
Oh,
We also will do to where we got, they can also have layers as well. And sometimes it will have layers of 3. 3 layers will represent earth, sky, and the spirit world. And those will be well decorated with the usual colors of green and blue, sometimes yellow, sometimes white to represent the spirit world. But it is all there to pretty much with the ofrendas. But the one thing that they will always make sure of to include, besides the skeleton figures, as you can see, is that their favorite foods are placed out there. The people that used to live amongst us, our remembered departed, our loved ones that we are missing. And this way, we can go ahead and put out their favorite foods so they can enjoy that. Even though the dead do not eat, they do take some type of comfort from the food that is there, whether it is through the colors that they absorb or the smells of it itself. They remember those right there. Ofrendas will also have sometimes is a cross and candles that'll be placed there as well, besides pictures of the people that are gone, sugar skulls and food, as you can see on this next slide. In the middle there, you can see 2 pictures. Those are my grandparents. My mother's parents are on the top, my father's parents are on the bottom. These are the people that we would remember if we were to set up an ofrenda. Also, know that ofrendas can be any type of layers. It can be a single layer with a table, 3 layers. Some people even go as high as to 7 layers to represent the 7 deadly sins that one has to travel through and tribulate through to get to heaven or to get out of purgatory, in a sense. Or they would represent the 7 heavens that the Aztecs believed that one would go to. Angelitos. Angelitos are the English word of little angels, and these are the souls of children that be remembered on Day of the Dead. For that is one part of this celebration of Day of the Dead, is that it was separated into 2 different holidays amongst the Aztec people. One was to celebrate and to remember those that have died as adults, mostly the soldiers and warriors that fought in the battles amongst the Aztecs and the other indigenous tribes in the area of the Mesoamericas. And then there was those that died either as women in childbirth or as children because they were so young. That was a separate day within itself. Some say that it is part of one of those 3 days of Hallows Eve, All Saints Day, and All Souls Day. But the thing is that it was on a different time. Some say that it happened in the spring solstice as well. One cannot be too sure until we have more documentation to prove that. For our next one, we have Pan de Muerto. And this is bread of the dead. This right here is a pan dulce or a sweet bread that is made, and a very skilled baker can do many things with it. They will sometimes put crosses on them, as you can see on the picture that is on the left-hand side in the upper corner, or they'll look like skulls, as you can see on the right corner. Sometimes, even the bakers that are skilled enough, they are able to put inside candy inside of the baking of this bread. It can be to where it'll be either sugar candy or it'll be chocolate candy, but for some strange reason, a skilled baker can do that to where they'll put in skulls or they'll put in full skeletons. And it is a treat to find one of those in your bread. It's not always the truth, but that is one thing you can do right there. Now, the one thing is that we could say with that is that this is to be eaten always, as a rule, generally, that I know within my communities that I've been in, that you have to have coffee or hot chocolate with it, never with a cold drink. It's okay to do that, but however, just remember, coffee or a hot drink is better. Marigolds. This is the flower to symbolize the afterlife. It is what is believed that pretty much grown abundantly in Mictlan, which is Mictlantecuhtli's underworld. And this was the flower that was there. It is kind of a bit like roses. It doesn't give off a very sweet fragrance, but it is very colorful and beautiful and pleasing to look at. And it also brings a bit of, I would say, a lightness to any place so it doesn't look so gloomy. It was known as Kimpel Chelwatsil, as a marigold. The monarch butterflies. These right here were believed to be the soul carriers. We also know them in the Hispanic and Latinx community as mariposas hermosas. And why the reason they were believed to be the soul carriers is because on account of Day of the Dead, which falls into the autumn solstice, is when the butterflies will start to migrate, like birds do, to the warmer climates when it gets cold. It happened one time when they were celebrating this, and supposedly that there was a large migration of butterflies that it almost pretty much made it look like a cloudy day. Some even say when these butterflies landed, they would land on graves or in spots where people who were known to have died to remind them that they have came for their souls to take them into heaven itself because they flew away with that person. So that is why they would be known as the soul carriers and why they hold of importance. For our next one, I would like to show this is one of our poets, and I tried to control it, but I lost a little technology, but this is with the food. And this is a Saginaw poet who is a good friend of ours and also a very big contributing artist to Elas, and that is Dennis Medell II with his poem, Tamales.
Tamales, tamales, my favorite food. Just why do you have to be so damn good? Some people prefer tripas, cabeza, or menudo. But Mr. Tamale, nobody understands me like you do. Some prefer you solita y salsa y ya. Me, it's ketchup. It makes me want a salsa. Coming back, giving props to Beto y mi raza. It's because of you that I'm blessed with my girlish panza. I'll see you soon, my wonderful friend. Now it's time to eat you, so this poem must come to an end.
And now we would like to go ahead and go back into the presentation. And what we want to continue on with is with the La Catrina and the artist that started him, and that is Jose Guadalupe Posada. Now, the reason that he started with La Catrina and what her looking like the gentlewoman, the noble woman that she is because he was doing it as a sign of protest. This is when Mexico was under the European takeover and regime. And he did that is to show as like a protest in a sense, but no one took that as that. They saw that as art. Jose Guadalupe Posada had done a lot by pretty much showing a female skeleton as a gentlewoman, a noblewoman, and a rich woman. And that is pretty much what he did right there to go ahead and pretty much post before that. But the thing is that for some strange reason, the Calavera art that he started had pretty much taken off into a sense to where it had done many things, to where a lot of people will do the Calaveras in a lot of different drawings or a lot of different styles of what they would be posed of looking. Mostly, they would show them being of where they are doing the same thing in life that they are doing now in the afterlife, with the skeletons being of either dancing or either as teachers or as mariachis or nurses, whatever it may be. But it is all to go right there with the Calavera scene. As you can see with this next slide, give me a minute. Okay, now, there we go. Okay, come on. There we go. And these are the skulls right here that most people would do some drawings with. So what we have here is that all of these are different shapes, styles, and form. It is all for artisticness and also for of cleverness. As you can see with the four skulls that are on my left, your left, is that you'll notice the different patterns and designs. Mostly, the ones that stand out the most are those that will have things like the hearts of showing love, but also of strength as well, and of represent of that person that we miss. The cross for our turn to Christianity, and also for what we believe in is that God had promised when He sent His Son to die for our sins, is that we would all get a chance to go back into heaven, and we are welcome there. Flowers are to represent many things: love, strength, memory, or it can even be to where it is something to pleasurable fragrances that maybe one of a relative who had passed had a perfume that you would like. Sometimes there is also included as cobwebs, which is also to stand for memory as well, but also it is to show the layers of what we remember of that person in memory-wise and of the stories they would tell. That is what we are mostly famous for in the Latinx, Hispanic, and Mexican communities, is for our storytelling and our oral histories that we give out. Diamonds is not only sometimes used as well, but is not to represent just wealth and money, but it is also used to show of strength and endurability, longevity, if you will, because diamonds have been said to be known to last forever. And also, as you can see within the first, this is where the calaveras first started, within the Mesoamerican indigenous population. These are several stone statues, while yet the one on the top center, as you can see, is an actual skull of a nobleman or a rich man that has been covered with pieces of onyx and turquoise because they were precious jewels. And then there's also the one, as you can see to your right corner, where it's half a man's human face and half a skull, to represent that life and death are not separate or opposite of each other. It is all part of the circle, life and death. And we have nothing to fear of it. While on the left, the gentleman there might be a reaper, or it might be Mictlantecuhtli himself that is represented there, the Lord of the underworld himself. And as I said, today, a lot of artists have taken into doing the calaveras and the skulls, the sugar skulls, the masks, and they pretty much have incorporated it to anything. I am showing on the left-hand side this is a copy from a comic book that was done by Joe Benavides, and it was on Lady Mechanica. This is a cybernetic superhero that went into Mexico during Day of the Dead, and she partook of it. It is a very interesting storyline, but however, if you're not into violence and the graphicness of violence, it may not be the book for you. However, the symbolism and the story of the imagery, all of it in there, is just very beautiful and well done. So I have to pretty much commemorate Mr. Benavides and his writers and his artists that put that all together. And as I said before, the calaveras and the calacas, which is known as the skeleton scenes, it is about the afterlife. And what we believe that in the afterlife, we can see the people doing. Same thing we've done in life itself. As you can see with the traditional ones that we have on the top left and the top right, it is showing that there is dancers. And there is also mariachis that are playing. Now in the center, we have Madonna and Child, but it's not to be blasphemous, but it is to say that we understand and we comprehend that the Virgen de Guadalupe is important to us. And we are just showing a tribute and also to inclusion of her into this holiday. Because on the account of in several Hispanic and Latinx communities, there is the patron saint that we believe is to be the Virgin Mary, who came in the incarnation of the Virgen de Guadalupe, which have gotten all of the people in certain area in Mexico, that have turned to Christianity, instead of staying with the traditional pagan or the, I would say, Wiccan or spiritual beliefs of the traditional indigenous ways, which is not wrong, but we came across, if anything. And the calaveras and the calacas are always pretty much something that we will see a lot of, especially lately on Halloween. I have seen several of people wearing elaborate costumes, makeup, and all of that has been incorporated into Halloween. So it is not stuck to just doing Day of the Dead, but it is something that is now becoming more popular and streamlined. And like I said, that is thanks to two of the movies that came out in the previous years, which was Coco from Disney and The Book of Life from Blue Sky. One can always do their own calaca and calavera, the skull or skeleton scenes, and be creative with it. There are no right or wrong answers of how you do it and how you do the representation of it. It is what you see and what you feel is the best way to express yourself. Whether it is through the mariachis that you see in the bottom left-hand corner, to where it is a family portrait, which you see on the top of the mariachis, or a popular Americana icon such as Darth Vader, which we see as a sugar skull, or even as to where I did myself, is a portrait of a poet who is a calavera himself. And now what I would like to do is to show that there is something that where we let the dead show that they are doing things of the living, and that is through a group of young people that performed for us one year at one of our Day of the Dead performances of last year, and that is the Ballet Folklorico de Detroit. Let's see. No, that's not it. And this is them performing the traditional Mexican hat dance. Okay, so getting back to with the calaveras and all that I mentioned about it, is the one thing I would urge for the young people, that if ever they wish to be as creative as that, but it doesn't have to be perfect, but just know that sometimes you can cheat a little bit by when you make your calavera, calaca skeleton, is that you can use geometric shapes or even shapes of fruit to go ahead and make its head. As you can see in this scene from Book of Life, all of the heads of the calacas calaveras are not the same. Some of them is a perfect circle, some of them oval, and yet Xibalba, the dark one himself, has a head that looks a little bit shaped like a pear. But the thing is to be creative with it, but also to just show that this is something that goes on in the afterlife. That even though they are no longer living, they are doing something in the afterlife that is similar to what we did in this life. Costuming can be just as great as anything. As you can see on the right, we have a scene from Quantum Solstice of the James Bond movie where they began in Mexico during Day of the Dead. And James Bond himself is wearing a very elaborate costume of a Calavera Calaca. And then to the left is another scene from the Lady Mechanica comic book I was speaking of earlier, to where they were all dressed up for Day of the Dead in the Parade of the Dead. We see as that there are people that are dressed as family members that are gone, saints, angels, and Lady Mechanica, who's leading the parade, she is dressed as La Catrina herself, as a representation of one of many manifestations that we have seen La Catrina to become. In the center, you see that some have even dressed up as the traditional Aztec warriors or royalty, because that is where this holiday had started with our patron people that have started it in the Mesoamerican heritage of the Mexican community. And then in the bottom center, we have a young lady who was dressed up as, I believe she said it was a corpse bride, if anything. So anything it could be from scary to where it can be elaborate to where it can be creative, but it's all in good fun. And even though I see a lot of folks that are using black, just know the better costumes are the ones, in my opinion only, is that have a little pop of color for the reds, blues, greens, yellows, something to give it to it's a little more pleasing and appeasing to the eye. But mostly because on account of the dead love and are attracted to bright colors. For after all, it has been a while since they've seen such things. The Muertos have, that is. Now, Los Abriches, the spirit guides, which we have seen brought to life to Coco. But the thing is that you should know about Los Abriches is that it was started by the artist Pedro Linares. What happened was that he was very sick one day with pneumonia, and he was in a fever dream. Something he wouldn't make it. So he went on this like dream walk during his sickness to get better, and he kept having this dream of seeing all of these animals that did not look like normal animals. Roosters that had 4 legs, dogs that would have horns, mice that had butterfly wings, cats that were of multicolors, and one had a sunshine pattern on its rear flank. And the one thing is that he kept on hearing while he walked through this land of all these incredible looking animals was the word abriche, abriche, abriche. So Lenaro went to work by creating what he remembered once he had recovered from his illness. He started the abriches as paper mache art. Later in years, another artist who was really inspired by Linares' work, Manuel Jimenez, had decided to go ahead and make his abriches of wood. The wooden abriches is known as the Oaxacan style because he came from Oaxaca, Mexico. That does not mean that Pedro Linares' traditional paper mache abriches are not important. They are displayed as well. It's just they take a little longer, a little harder to make as the wood ones. But the wood ones seem to be more popular because they can endure the test of time a little stronger than paper mache. Whichever one you choose, though, all of them are great in creativeness. Also, for those of us that are parents or grandparents or aunts and uncles, As you can see in the right corner of the bottom, the abriches have a Pokemon kind of look. Some say that the abriche, when it was seen by maybe an artist, that they were inspired to make the Pokemon monsters. And I would like to believe that is possible because on account of there is a big art cultural exchange between Japan and Mexico. Anime is very popular in Mexico. And also, anime has incorporated a lot of Spanish terminology and words in some of their anime series. Bleach was one of my favorite supernatural and action adventure horror animes, has incorporated completely to where they have used a lot of Spanish when discussing a place called Hueco Mundo, which means the hollow world or world of the evil dead. It is definitely one that made me feel good because of the words arrancar and espalda, which means to cut and for sword. So maybe Pikachu did get his start and started out as an abriche. What do you do for Day of the Dead? The list is just right here, only one of many things you can do. But the most important thing that we must always remember, as listed here from the top to the bottom, is that we remember those that have departed, those that are gone, our loved ones. We no longer feel the need to mourn, but yes, we are sad that they are gone. But we don't mourn for them on these 3 days, because on account of we've done that when we had said our goodbyes and we have laid them to rest. We celebrate life, the life of those of us, if it was our parents, as their children, and the memories that we have of them as their children, and also with our children and our parents being their grandparents. But the thing is, it is all to share funny stories, good memories. And it is also a process of not only to laugh, but is to heal, but also to, like I said, celebrate the life because we know that our family is still with us, regardless of where they went or how long they've been gone from us. They are with us in a peace because if we look around ourselves, especially within our family, we could say that the family member that is gone is still amongst us because their legacy lives on through their descendants. So I want to thank everyone for joining us today for this presentation and for listening to what had to be shared. And before I go into answering any questions or to entertain questions for today, I would like to also close it out with our final performance for the day, and that is with one of our artists, well, actually two of our artists that always joins us for our open mics and whenever we do presentations, and that is Mr. Bobby De Leon, Mr. Rudolfo Lavario, and the young man who's with them, Mr. Juan Valles on the accordion, performing a traditional conjunto song that may be played for Day of the Dead.
Esta vida infeliz y que vengan las copas de vino. Yo desea que te vayas sin mí y yo vago en el fondo del vicio. Ella dice que dejó la foto para que mis ojos lo vieran. Que es un perico que le da dinero y que sin embargo
Okay, do we have any questions or any comments or anything that you would like to put before us right now as we close up for this event right here? Anyone?
If anybody has any questions, feel free to put those in the chat box. And thank you again to everybody for attending today. Following the presentation, you're going to be getting a survey in your email, and if you would please fill out the survey and let us know if you like the program and how the experience went for you. And in the meantime, if we don't have any questions, I will just say thank you to everybody and enjoy the holidays. Stay safe.
Thank you very much for your time. I want to say thank you not only to all of you that attended, but I'd also want to say thank you to every supportive artist that we've had in these past performances and presentations and everything that we've done. And especially, I would say, we're very grateful to the community that helped us out, because this would not be possible without any of you. And I want to say, hopefully, sometime soon, when we do this again, we'll be able to do this live, and we can gather again as to enjoy each other's company. And other than that, just know that with Artistas Latinx en Acción, our main mission and goal is just pretty much to give and contribute to the community that we are in any way possible. We are in your backyard, we are your neighbors, and we want to pretty much not only be seen and heard, but also to share what we have to offer, like so many other multicultural and ethnic groups have done in other presentations in the past. And I hope that'll continue on forward into the years to come. And like I said, hopefully live soon.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see all of you live. And thanks again, Gil, for your presentation. That was really a lot of great information. And we really appreciate it. And we love the collaboration. Thanks, and have a great holiday to everybody.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Jackman. And thank you, everyone, for attending. Have a good day. Have a safe Halloween, and enjoy Day of the Dead as well.
Okay. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Gil.
Bye, Gil.
Adios.
Adios.
Nos vemos.